Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 5. I can't believe we're almost going to be done with the course pretty soon. So after this week, we actually have 2 more weeks left in the course. You guys are doing an amazing job with keeping up with all of the coursework, and I'm really proud of you guys. I just kind of also wanted to send another apology about the technical glitch that we had this week where you guys had to email me assignments, and some people's assignments got erased. It was just kind of a nightmare, but I think that we have everything hashed out, so I'm hoping that going forth we won't have this issue. So I do apologize to those who were heavily affected. So just know that the issue has certainly been resolved, at least from the technical standpoint, when I followed up today. So I will give that a test today to make sure that it is. So great. So you have 4 assignments that are due this week, and 3 out of the 4 are really just discussions. And so the first one is preparation for final integrative paper, the genogram and assessment of the family. So what you're going to do is you're going to have an initial post that is due this Thursday where you're going to review how to create a genogram based on a problematic episode. This is a lot different than sitting down and actually thinking about your family dynamics, And so you're going to create a genogram based on a problematic episode from a present or past clinical case. So make sure that you do not include any identifying information on the members of the family. So like names and things like that. But as far as relationship connections, whether they're close or not, what type of salaries they're making, what type of occupations, those are things that you can still include in the genogram. So you're going to go through each of the following resources, also using week 3 to create your family genogram, just kind of what we've been using, the symbols and how to make a genogram. And then what you're going to do is you're going to actually draw a genogram after you've reviewed everything, at least of 3 generations, highlight any patterns that may show up. So if there's a pattern of substance abuse, if there's a pattern of mental health disorders, if there's a pattern of lack of connection. I mean, that's profound in itself. If people aren't really close to each other at all in the family, that's interesting to kind of identify. If there's a pattern of low income family systems, if there's a pattern of high income, a lot of those things can speak to the family. So you want to make sure if you have access to this information, you include it. So step 3 is from your initial post, you're going to complete all of the following parts. So first, you're going to create the genogram. Then you're going to write a short assessment of the family, discussing your hypothesis, answering what the cause of the problem was, any relevant life cycle and social cultural issues, and the family strengths. And then what you're also going to do is, in addition, you're going to describe any issues that encountered while creating the genogram. Did you find that this process, creating the genogram, was easy or difficult? What did you learn that surprised you? And how could you have this type of activity help a client? So I know doing genograms, a lot of agencies make that a part of the clinical intake. That is something that I had experience with doing with substance abuse a few years back, but we don't do it now with our families. But I feel like we should, especially that we work in a family framework. So I think this is something that I am interested in adding after, of course, working with you guys so closely on it. So that is everything. These 3 components are what you're going to include in your initial post that is due this Thursday. But for this particular discussion, you do have to have a response post to at least 2 classmates by Sunday by 11:59. So you want to make sure that you have that completed. Okay, so that's your first assignment that's due this week. Your second assignment is discussion around EFT and attachment. So after reviewing Johnson's EFT film and reading the article, you're going to respond to all of the following 3 components in your initial post. So you're going to identify and discuss how 3 of the basic tenets, attachment theory and Johnson's article, apply to EFT family therapy. In your own words, describe the significance of attachment theory in couples therapy, and describe how Johnson's reframed the client's problem into a cycle reflecting attachment needs and fears. So I'm really interested to see what your feedback on this is, because attachment theory is something that I really take heart to in working with my children and my families, because many of them have insecure attachments, and because of that, there is a lack of ability to really have their sensory needs met, right? Because there's always a function of a behavior. And what's interesting is the students who have typically the insecure attachments or high provoking anxiety attachments, they are typically the students who have the higher sensory needs, essentially, who need that touch, who need to be embraced and loved and treated gently. I think attachment theory, you guys would find very helpful in explaining some behaviors in the way that even we, as we become adults, attach to one another and our spouses, and have relationships and those types of things. So this is certainly a good read. So I look forward to seeing what you guys put in your post. So your initial post is due Thursday, and you don't necessarily have a response post, but you can reply if you would like to. So that's your second assignment. Your next one is the contextual family therapy assignment, where you're going to actually listen to a podcast entitled Voices in the Family, Talk with Dr. B, and reviewing the resource of contextual family therapy for this week. So you're going to complete all initial posts that includes all these components. So you're going to describe one of the ideas that she discussed in the podcast that you believe will be helpful to you with future clients. You're going to go on to discuss a situation with a past client where loyalty conflict may have occurred, or how could you have addressed this, knowing that you know now what you know now. And if you can't think of an actual past client, you can come up with a mock client situation. So I just want to make sure that you understand it and how to really embrace loyalty conflict. So the last thing you're going to do is describe a situation with a past client where issues related to destructive or low entitlement may have concurred. So how could you have addressed this, knowing that you know now? And if you can think of an actual past client, come up with a mock client. So you'll post to the answers are due this Thursday by 11:59, and there is not a follow-up post that's required of you. So that is also due this Thursday. So you have a couple different discussion posts. And your last assignment is your weekly family therapy theory grid. And so that is actually what we've actually been working on. You guys have been doing a great job. You're going to be talking about psychodynamic contextual theory. So just make sure when you guys are, listing your core concepts that you're being very detail oriented, and also with your interventions, because the idea of this form, honestly, is when you will take this with you once you guys are completely done with your MSW program, and you will find that this form is going to be so essential when you have some pretty intense cases and you're like, man, I feel stagnant, I feel stuck, I'm not sure what to do. And usually, especially in one way or another, we're typically always kind of working with the family, we can refer back to this. And there's some things that even in the way that we operate and communicate with individuals in any circumstance, we can find this effective. So I want to make sure that you guys are putting down some really great foundational work for something that you can refer back to later. So that is due this Sunday by 11:59. And then the last thing I wanted to do, because I think that I might actually do it myself tonight because I'm actually swamped, I want you guys to practice self-care. Take a moment, if you could, even after watching this video, focus on headspace before you even dive into your activities your assignments that are due, just to give yourself a moment to kind of meditate and regroup and focus in on you. I know that's important. We don't always feel like we have time for ourselves, but I think it's important that we make time when we schedule that. So, look into it. Let me know if you guys received any positive rewards from it. So you guys have a fantastic week. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions or concerns, and I will be in touch. All right, thanks. Have a great week.